What's going on, guys? Shane here. Welcome back to another journey with Bolton Wanderers. This is our episode 9 of our season with Bolton Wanderers. This is just going to be a season review, so there's not going to be much games. There's going to be no games in this at all. Just going to go through some of the players and how well they did and everything like that. But we'll take a look at our league table so far. We finished the league table on 106 points with Wolves coming in at 88 points. So a goal difference of 62, so that's pretty damn good. Wolves coming in underneath us at 34. From what I can see, Wolves and us were the highest in the league. We only conceded 50 goals. We scored 112, so that's pretty decent. Some of our biggest goal scorers was, quite a few goals there. Preston, we scored 9 against Bolton, 8 against them. Tottenham Forest 7, Leeds 7, Bristol 7, QPR 6, Ipswich 6, Wolves 5, Birmingham 5, and Fulham 5. And then goals scored against us was in the low regions of 4s, 3s, and 2s. So it wasn't so bad. We got everything back that we needed. Biggest losses that we had was probably 3-1 versus QPR. But otherwise, everything was at least a 2-0 aggregate. So it wasn't so bad. And then drawing, nothing too serious. The biggest draw was 2-2. Our biggest win, I'd probably have to say, was Leeds with a 5-2 win. We did get some big goal scoring games. If you take a look here in the schedule, take the results. Some of our biggest goal scorers was Preston 6-3 in that game, and if I'm not mistaken, there should be another big 5-1 scoring. Yeah, there we go, QPR 5-1 there. Otherwise, everything was a 3-0 aggregate that we got everything. Nottingham Forest was a 4-0, Bolton 4-0. But yeah, about 3-0. Everything was about 3-0. So it wasn't such a bad session for us, and that's the goal scoring side of it. But we didn't do too bad. I wasn't really disappointed on how we would perform with the FA Cup and the Caribou Cup. I wasn't too worried about that. We got knocked out in the Caribou Cup against Leicester City in the second round. We made it to the 5th round in the FA Cup, and we got knocked out by Liverpool 5-1. But my main focus was the league for this season, so I wasn't too phased about those games. So I was quite happy with that overall. Let's take a look at some of the rewards that the guys got. Fans player of the season was definitely Johan Molo. He had 57%. He came in with a staggering free transfer, which I can't emphasize. You guys must, if you start a new save, definitely get him in. Brilliant player for us. We got him in on free. Played 37 games, 25 goals, 14 assists, 8 players of the match, and 7.57 average. So that's very good. And the only injuries he had was a minor injury, or moderate injury, versus Fulham. He got twisted ankle and he was out for 4 weeks. So that put a bit of a damper on us towards the mid-end of this season. So it wasn't the greatest thing there. Second is Will Buckley, also a very brilliant player for us. We got him in also, I think, on a free transfer. Yeah, he came in on a free transfer from, obviously, free transfer sections. So he got 28 games, 17 assists, 14 goals, 10 player of the match with the 7.92, which is very good. Very, very, very good. Injuries, he did suffer from a couple of injuries during the course of the season, but nothing too major. The only biggest injury he had was in the beginning of the season. He was out for 2 months, hence why he only played a few games. That's 2016. So yeah, nothing really major came from injuries on his side. We took him over 2017. So bruised ankles, twisted knee, bruised thigh. So nothing serious. But yeah, so it was decent there. Jim Carrican was our captain for the season. Also a very good player. He's got a very good mental player. His technical is not the greatest, and physical for his position I would have preferred him to be a bit better, but we can't complain very much about that. He played almost every game. I think he only missed one game of the season. 42 games, he got 5 goals, 6 assists, 2 player of the match, and a 7.22 average. So that's pretty decent. His tackling percentage on the competitive league was pretty good. He got 2.66 tackles per game on an 81%, so that was pretty good. And shots on target wasn't bad, 36%. His fouls, was committed 67 fouls. That wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad. Fouls against him, got 31 against him, so he was on a 7.22, so he wasn't that bad at all. Let's take a look at Buckley's shots on target. He got 75% shots on target. Dribbles per game, 5.14, so that's really good. Passes is 15%. He made 1.16 tackles, but that's expected. His marking is low and his tackling is low, so nothing too spectacular there. We're definitely going to be keeping him going into the Premier League this next season. And we're going to take a look at Molo's ratings. His shots per target was 61%. And dribbles was 2.2, so he didn't dribble a lot, but he was in the right position for a lot of the time. His passes were 74%, so that's good. His tackling was not the greatest, but obviously his marking is on 3, his tackling is on 8, so you can't expect your inside forwards and that to be high in the tackling side of everything. And obviously a 7.57 average. And then signing of the season was obviously Johan Molo with the great stats, and then young player of the season is Jeff King. He's 22 years old. He's still developing a bit more. As we can see here, he's only got a 3-star potential, so he's on a 2.5 star now. So hopefully we can get him into his full 3-star potential for the up and coming season. Push him up a little bit, and then maybe we float him off for a few million and get some money in from him. But yeah, it's 3-star in the Premier League is not the way to go forward. We take a look at his overall stats. He got a 7.18 total in the league. Fouls against, he got 30 fouls against. Fouls, he's committed 38. Shots on target at 49%, so that's not too bad for a midfielder. His passing was at 79%, which is good. He didn't dribble much at all. He got 6 assists, 2 players of the match, and 7 goals. So that's what helped us a lot with him and so forth and all that. We look at our team dynamics. We got 2 team leaders, Wheatler and Karakan. Wheatler obviously being our sub goalie, and Karakan being our not goalie captain, and Karakan being captain. And a couple of players that have pushed through for highly influential, like Flo. Flo came in for on a transfer for us. He was on a free transfer as well. He played 30 games. He got 1 goal, 4 assists, and he's at a 7.11. So he did pretty well as well for us. And then Henry came in, but Henry, I don't think we're going to be keeping him around. He's on a 7.1, so he's not the best of players at the moment. Josh Vale, Buckley, all played very well. Josh Vale came in. He hasn't played a lot of games. He was off on injury for a lot of it, so he only played 23 games and a 7.14, so it wasn't so bad for him. But we're definitely keeping him. We're not going to get rid of him. Alan Wick, also a very good season for him. He got quite a few clean sheets. Conceded 44. He got 14 clean sheets, so that's pretty decent at a 7.02. So he was a good goalie for us in that. Influential players that a few came in. Panna came in. Jeff King came in. Molo came in. Sebastian, who was a new signing as well, came in. Sebastian was out on injury for quite a while. He came in on a free transfer. He's played 30 games. He got 1 goal, 4 assists, 7.12. His injury ratings is he got a moderate injury rating in the beginning of the season. He was out for 3 weeks, but otherwise he'd been playing right in the back 4 there. And then Victor got a horrible injury. He's been out for a long time. So we'll take a look at his stats. Anyway, he came in on a 3. He played 13 games, got 4 goals, 3 assists, and he got a 7.01. But he's still out on injury. He got a major injury. He got a horrible back injury, and yeah, 5 months, and he's still out currently on injury. So that was a bit unfortunate. And then Reece Burke as well was also out for quite a while on an injury. He played 28 games and a 7.1 assists player rating. He got a major injury in the beginning of the season. Minor injury. Major injury was a hip injury in 2016. So I was worried about him struggling with injuries and on that major injury, but he didn't do too bad. And then Tyler Walker, who was also a transfer in, but on loan. He didn't do bad at all. 31 games, 16 goals, 9 assists, 4 players of the match, 7.14. So I'm going to try and see if we can extend his loan for the next season with the Premier League. And his stats are pretty good. His technique is good, and his mental is not too bad. He can improve on his decisions, and leadership, I'm not too worried about leadership. Only thing that he needs to really look at improving as well in physical is probably his strength. His strength and his balance not the greatest. Jumping reach is a bit low, but he's not a very tall person. He's only 1.78 centimeters, so it's not a big man at all. Mark Beavers, he came in on a loan transfer as well, a free transfer in the beginning of the season, and unfortunately he's been out for injuries for a long time, 5 months as well. He's still currently out on injury, damaged spine, so there's nothing really much to say about him. But otherwise, all in all, the team is in excellent condition, excellent dressing room atmosphere, and they're pretty happy with us. And I've already done a team talk where I've encouraged the guys that we're going to struggle in the next season, but hopefully we will be able to push to stay up in the Premier League for next year. And a little bit of good news, we are updating our youth facility, so that's pretty decent. And take a look at our transfers, see what's come in, what's gone out, transfer history. So obviously the transfers that have come in is Victor, who we've mentioned already. He's been pretty good. Came in on a free with 13, but he's been out on an injury, still out on injury. And we got him in on a free. Sebastian came in on a free, who's played pretty well. Johan Molo superbly as well came in on a free, and he's valued at 9 million now, so hopefully we can push his value up if people haven't seen anyone interested in him yet. And then Flo also came in, wasn't on a free, but he was on a free, sorry, excuse me for that. But he played pretty well. The only problem with him is he's lacking in the tackling department. So we're definitely going to be looking at strengthening this section here on our left backs. And then we got a few youngsters in that they look promising. This guy, Enes Bunjaki, I butcher his name every time I try and say it. He's an Albanian. He looks promising, but he's got a potential of 3.5 stars. So the main reason we got him in is just for finances, to try and see if we can push his stats up a little bit and then float him off for a little bit more than what he's worth. We got him on a free, so we can make a little bit out of him. Eric Gliha, he came in as more of a rotational player, backup player for my 2 inside forwards for when they get injured. And he did play a couple of one appearance with 6.14, so it wasn't the greatest for him as well. Non-competitive leagues, he played quite a few games. He got a 7.32 average, so he didn't do too bad there, but he could have been better. He's got a few good stats on him here, but his star rating is also quite low. It's also only a 3.5 star, so he's basically just here so we can float him off for a few bucks here and there. Then we got Morales in. Morales came in on a free transfer. He hasn't played any games for us. He's a bit of a youngster still, at 18 years old, 20 years old. But he looks like a promising youngster. That's why we got him in. Look, his wagon wheel looks pretty decent. Maybe not suited for Premier League football, but if you take a look at it, is what our coaches say. He's fairly injury suspected to get a lot of injuries. Is well suited for Vanarama national football. So again, he's also just going to be someone to float off for a bit of cash here and there. And then we got Panna in for 44k. Panna came in on a 44,000, and he played 20 games. He got 9 goals, 3 assists, 2 players of the match, 7.53. So he's been outstanding for us as well. Played very well for us at the moment. Take a look at his attributes. He's got fairly rounded off mentality. His technical is also fairly rounded off for his position in that, and he's got a good physical rounded off round. He's a very rounded player, which is decent. You don't find that often. Obviously, he's the red arrows is because he's on holiday and that now, so they started struggling a little bit towards the end of the season, being tired and all that. And then we got Eric Bothium in. Eric Bothium in an attacking field is pretty rounded off, and I feel that he's still young. He's 18. He's from Norway. I feel he'll be pretty decent going forward in the long run, so that's why I got him in. His first touch is pretty decent, his finishing is good, and his dribbling is good. Passing is great, technique is great. He's lacking a bit on decisions and off the ball, so we're training him on that, and then agility in that, and acceleration is not the greatest as well. For a forward, you need him to have a little bit of a fast pace forward. We got him on a false 9 position, so he's been training as a false 9. He played 4 games in total, and he got a 6.77, so it's not the greatest performance at all. But it's for what we got, you can call it that we only spent 244 on the transfers. We didn't have a big transfer budget at all that season. And then our transfers going out, Derek Osedi, we did loan him out, and then we called him back, and then Barnsley actually bought him off. And then in the summer window, the January transfer, De Wiet was bought off from us. Also quite a decent rounded off player, but he wasn't in my plans for the team. He didn't really do much for the team. He played a little bit for us, 12 games, he got a 7.12, but he didn't have space. I didn't have space for him, so there was no point keeping him around, and he was wanted by Sheffield, so we got him off for 500k, so that wasn't bad, and he's got a clause as well in them. And then Sammy Ayobo went to Sheffield United, Aston Villa, for a whopping 625k. Also a decent rounded off player, but again, he had no space in the team with the likes of Panna, Karakan, Perry, and King, so we decided to get rid of him. He only played 5 games for us, and he didn't do very well. He got a 6.6 average, so it wasn't the best, so we got rid of him. He has got a clause on there for 775k, so that's quite decent for us, and so has Osedi. He's also got a clause on him for 500k, so hopefully when they finish that, we'll get it in. We got a total of 1.7 million, so that wasn't bad. So looking at our squad for our main starting players and all that, Jeff King played well. Reece Burke was a loan-in who came in. Alex Perry is another youngster. He's only on a 3-star potential. He's only a 3-star potential, but he played outstandingly for us as well. It counted when he came in. It counted. 22 games, 3 goals, 2 assists, 703. So that is not bad. But if there's any interest for him, then we're definitely gonna float him off to the highest bidder. Craig Noon came in. Craig Noon was with the club as well. He's a very good inside forward. He was off on injuries for quite a while as well. He was out for 3 months on an injury, but he didn't play so bad as well either. So got 23 appearances, 5 goals, 10 assists, 3 players a match, and 7.23 rating. So that was pretty decent from him. But transfers, I'm looking at definitely strengthening the goalkeeper a little bit, getting someone in at goalie, and strengthening our left wing a little bit there. I'm happy with Little. Little's been outstanding as well. He's pretty good. He's played 28 games, and he got a 7.34 average, so that was good for him for the season. But otherwise, yeah, it's not doing too bad at all. The formation, we're probably going to use our normal formation. This one, we're going to start off the season with this formation, and most likely change over to that formation depending on how things go through the course of the season. But transfers so far who I've been looking at is Plazzari for goalkeeper. We've offered 15 million for him. We got a 30 million transfer budget. And then I got Ronel, I don't know how to say his name properly, we'll call him Frederick. Got Frederick in as also a goalkeeper, 25 years old, very good, very rounded off. Eccentricity is what I'm looking for on a very low, so he's pretty good there on a very low. But otherwise, he's pretty decent. If we highlight his goalkeeping stats, the only thing is his command of area is not the greatest. But everything else is good. His one-on-ones is 16, his reflexes at 16, anticipation is at 14, decisions at 12, positioning is at 13, which is not bad. And his overall physical is pretty good as well. If you compare him to Plazzini, obviously Plazzini is a wonder kid that's coming up through the Italian football. He's only 18, so he will develop into a decent goalkeeper. So we still have to try and see if we sign a contract with him. We're not sure yet. His eccentricity is a little bit high, but it's not too bad. But his reflexes at 16, his one-on-ones are at 15, handling is at 13, decisions is a bit low at 10. His anticipation is good at 15. His positioning is at 12. His throwing is not the greatest, but it can improve over time. He's still only 18 years old, and from what I've seen, I haven't scouted him, but from what I've seen, what the stats and that show me, and his wagon wheel, he can develop into a decent player. So that's why we've put a bid in for him. I know it's a bit of a steep bid, 120 million in total that we can. That's the clauses there. But I don't think it'll ever get to that. Then the other goalie that we brought in is Sondre Rosbach. He is a Norwegian as well. And he's a fairly decent rounded off player at his 22 years old. So he's still a youngster, so he can still go forward in his career. His eccentricity is also very low, which is good, but he's pretty rounded off on his main goaling attributes. He's got 13s across the board on his aerial, command, and communications. And then he varies between 12s and 14s on first touch, handling, kicking, one-on-ones. His reflex is brilliant at 17. His throwing is good at 15. Positioning is great. His decisions is also pretty decent. And his anticipation is decent. Stamina we're not worried about because he's a goalkeeper. He doesn't need a high stamina. But his physicals are pretty rounded off, so that's pretty decent there. And then we looked at a few youngsters. We've sent out contracts, waiting to see what happens. Flanagan, we're trying to get him on loan again. We made an offer for Tom Adams. He's a youngster, but I don't know if we're going to look at keeping him in. Only reason why I put him is fairly consistent, and his potential star rating is at 5 star if you look at the black, but overall is a 4-star rating. So hopefully we can get him in, but if not, then we're not too sure what's going to happen there. But he's a youngster. He's only 15 years old, so we'll push him up and train him and do some good wonders there. And then we looked at Simon Hunter as well. Simon Hunter is also another regen who's pretty decent. He's not a very well-rounded off defender, but you don't need a defender with attacking ability and that. And if we look at his star ratings, also 4-star rating there. He's a very consistent performer, so we're quite happy about that. Just his personality in that he's got a competitive streak, so I'm not too sure how that's going to handle. And if we take a look at his personality overall, he's got a fairly professional personality, and his media handling style is level-headed, so that's pretty decent. So hopefully we can get Simon Hunter in. And we definitely have and sealed Ryan Sessengau, I don't know how to say his name. We've got Ryan's contract, we signed him over. He's definitely coming in. We signed him in at not a hell of a lot, but it's not too bad. His injuries, he's only got a slight injury there. We signed him in for 6.5 million, so that was not bad at all. He's still only 17 years old, so he's got a lot to develop. His crossing is at 15, which is great. He's got a 12 dribbling and finishing is at 12 as well. His first touch is at 10. Marking is a bit low, and his tackling is also a bit low. But we're definitely going to be training him on the back here somewhere along there. I'm going to start him off as a fullback, train him as an attacking fullback, so that his marking and his tackling can get up, as well as his first touch. His physicals are pretty rounded off. It's just his jumping reach and his strength are very low. So we're going to work on his physicals in training. And everything else with time will come towards him. He's only 17 years old, so it will be a good signing for us. And we looked at a couple of other guys. There's a couple of youngsters that are joining. We got Francisco Trincao coming in, also a good, decent, rounded off player. I haven't scouted him. I just came across him, and he seems pretty rounded off. So, and he's also a young player, 18 years old, so he can develop more further on. Then we got another guy coming in, attacking midfielder. He's coming from Cyprus, and it's Castanos. I hope that's how you say his name. And again, another fairly decent attacking forward. So that's basically what we're going to get him in as. We're going to train him in as attacking forwards here, and hopefully he'll just mainly be a substitute for our inside forwards. Then we've got another two potentially good youngsters. This guy is Lohan, is only 17 years old, and he's pretty decent. So got some good first touch stats. His passing is good. Technique is 13. He's got a great determination of 20. He's a driven personality, and the media, they've described him as a young midfielder. And we take a look at his star ratings and his potential 4.5 star. He's currently only at a 1 star, but he is inconsistent. But he's only 17 years old, so hopefully he can push that up to get to fairly consistent to consistent. There's no way of training it. The only way to train it is just by game time. Omar Hassan from Al Hayy. He's also looks like a fairly decent player who's joining us. He's going to be up in the attacking forwards as well, possibly in midfield. He is suited, got some good attributes suited for midfield position. He's a resilient player and personality. He's got a young midfielder, and he's already got a tempo, dictates tempo, player trait of dictates tempo. So that's pretty good for our side. And he's got a determination of 13, so hopefully he can do some damage for us. But yeah, I've dipped my toes into the transfer market a little bit. I'm not going to show you all of the transfers that are coming in. I've got a couple nice youngsters, fairly decent youngsters coming in with good potential, and that he has another 4-star potential who's already signed and is joining us. A fairly consistent player, so we have strengthened the side somewhat with quite a few regions as well as decent players. He has another potential 3.5 to a 4-star player, fairly inconsistent, but needs to work on it, and he's only 17, so we can get that up. It is a striker. I think I've signed 4 attacking midfielders, so I'm going to train them as snipers. He has another 16-year-old Norwegian, Ekeland, fairly decent player. If you can see his stats here, very well-rounded off for a 16-year-old. He's got a balanced personality, so we're going to tutor him with someone with a higher determination and get his personality up. We take a look at his information here, and he is a balanced personality with outspoken media handling style. So we're going to hopefully change that up a little bit. Hopefully it won't cause any problems for us. And then we got another Norwegian player, Risian, also in a striker's position. Also fairly decent player, rounded off. He's a resolute personality. You take a look at his media handling styles, and he is level-headed, so he'll be pretty decent. And if we take a look at his star ratings, he's going to be a 4-star, potential 5-star in the black. He also needs to work on his consistency, but he's only 16 years old, so hopefully we can get some decent stuff. And they are definitely joining us. We did try to get Zlatan in, but he's not interested in joining us, so we'll try again, because it was a low transfer, only 525k, so we're definitely going to try and see if we can get him in, and then work on getting him to do some tutoring, because his determination is at 17. He's a perfectionist, which is pretty cool. And information, we'll go to his media handling style. Is evasive or confrontational, so that's not the greatest thing to have, but hopefully he can tutor some guys into decent positions. And shoots with power and hits with free kicks, so he's definitely going to be looking at tutoring some of our young and upcoming strikers. But guys, thanks very much for joining me on this review. We're not really getting rid of as many players. If we do, you will see them on the first episode 10 of our first game with the Premier League, and I'm not sure who we're going to be playing yet, so hopefully we will take a look and see who that is in the few days coming up towards it. But anyway, thank you very much, and thanks for joining, and I hope you guys liked the video. And if there's anything else that I missed or you'd like to have seen that I should show next time, please let me know in the comments, and let me know how I did. If a review was alright and informative, I would appreciate that as well. But anyway guys, I hope you have a good one, and I hope you keep watching the Bolton Journey with me, and take care and enjoy. Goodbye for now.